In this video, we're going to take a look at a green ink by Montblanc Irish Green. As always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the green ink playlist, so if you wanted to see more greens, you can find that there. I'm an ink guy, and let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, nice shading throughout, really a lot of back and forth in the dark and lighter tones. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, great shading all the way through it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm stuck looking at this extra fine in medium, and I think, no, this is just writing thinner. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine. It just seems to be writing a little bit thinner here. Very interesting. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, great shading all the way throughout all of this writing with 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show good color variation because there is good color variation in the writing, and a smear test you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Viscosity Van Gogh with a medium nib was inked up, used for day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, nice peppering of shading throughout. I think that's how I'm going to handle talking about some of this now. The extra fine is about the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, great peppering of shading all the way through it. Nice. 7 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, great shading throughout all of it. 13 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show good color variation, and it's definitely there in the writing. And the smear test, I think you stand a very strong chance at recovering it if you smear while you're writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see this really grayish tone at the bottom. It's immediately bonded with the filter paper, and only a little bit is moving up. And then you get what is truly an Irish green color. It's gorgeous. It's moving up and gathering at the top. Fantastic. The one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes before it's dunked in the water. The line on the bottom looks a little bit darker, just a little bit, but not much, and the rest of it looks completely the same. But you might say you could expect a little bit of resistance with this ink. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen. It has some very nice shading throughout all of it. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, a very nice shading all the way through the writing. 3 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, and great shading throughout it. 7 seconds to dry. We can really see why so many people like this ink. The scrubby for both show good color variation. We definitely get it. In the smear test, you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on a page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I don't think this would be a good idea to use it in a note-taking situation. There's a lot of blowout and blurriness that's happening. Now, water is moving all the darkest tones, but leaving a light green in place. Pen flush is doing about the same that water did, and 1/3 bleach solution is completely removing it. Now, as we would expect with the Montblanc ink, it only took water to get this out of my pen. The next writing sample is done on Nemesinine paper, or Nemesign, or no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and some very nice shading throughout all of the writing. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, great shading all the way through, 5 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, and some great shading all the way through it. Lot of pepper. 8 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show good color variation because there is in the writing, and the smear test you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, and the realm of normal was 2.1 to 2.9. Montblanc's Irish Green had a viscosity of 1.44, making this a wet ink. If you're interested in how the viscosity and all that stuff's done, then down in the description is a link to that video. Now let's take a look at Leuchtturm 1917 paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feathers spread, halo sheen, a decent shading throughout all of it. The extra fine is about the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, very nice shading, great peppering all the way, 6 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, not as much shading showing through. It does have a little bit, but not as much. 10 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show a little bit of color variation. I think it looks much better in the extra fine. And the smear test you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, and the realm of normal was 13 to 21 seconds. Montblanc's Irish Green has an average dry time of 7 seconds, making this a very fast drying ink. The last writing sample is done on 20-pound copy paper. Now we have a lot of bleed spots that are coming through, but not coming through and touching the page underneath. A lot of ghosting as a result of how deep this ink is getting into the paper. It doesn't ruin the next page, but you can't use the back of the paper here. The medium has feathering all over. It's tiny feathering, not the end of the world. It has a little bit of spread. Again, not the end of the world with this paper. No halo, no sheen, no shade. The extra fine is just a tad lighter than the medium. Tiny feathering throughout, not unexpected, not a problem in general for this paper. No spread, no halo, no sheen, no shade, 1 second to dry. Now the scrubby's not showing color variation, we're really not getting it. In the smear test you can't smear it, so you don't have a problem. Instead of finding inks that look like Montblanc's Irish Green, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I decided to go with a purple ink by Herbin's Larmes de Cassis. Now, if you'd prefer a different complement color than purple with green, and I don't know why you would, there's links to those playlists down in the description. So what do I think of Montblanc's Irish Green? The Montblanc standard inks are really good, and this is really good. It shades very well all the time, and I would gladly accept a bottle of this. Not sure why they're specialty inks I don't care for so much. So what nib and pen are going to give the best writing experience with this ink? Definitely your favorite nib in your favorite pen, because it doesn't matter what pen you put it into and what the flow is. This looks great and it shades very well. Such a great looking ink. Enjoy it. Dealer's choice. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video we're going to take a look at Diamine's Enchanted Ocean.